So, years ago, before I had bean bags, I used to use books. Everyone, people here that remember I used to use books, and I put books, line them up, and I use books, right? Books. So one of the book things, but we're going to use bean bags instead of the books. But I want you to all remember I used to do this before. I used to do this a lot. Don't want to use the peace symbol. We're in such a horrible state at this point. Okay, we'll just do that. And I talked about how we're the perceiver, not the perceived. So who we truly are cannot be perceived. Correct? It's the end of the line. So I used to go, I'm me. I'm me. Look out in the world, I'm me. But then I realized, oh, I can perceive this. I'm me. This is me. This is me. I'm me. Oh, I can perceive it. This is me. This is me. Now I can perceive it. So we work ourselves back until finally there's only a perceiver. Very important. If you can perceive it, it can't be you. Not you. So the perceiver, in truth, is off this line. When we go here, get rid of these, and we have the 4 states. The waking state, which is made up of the body with all its wonderful aspects, the mind, and vital energy. Then we go to the subtle body, or the dream state. And this is made up of the mind and the vital energy. Then we go to the deep sleep state. And it's made up of just vital energy. It's blackness, right? And then we realize, maybe for a flash of a second, maybe just a little glimpse, the 4th state, which is the witness of the other 3 states. And this knows, and that's how we know there's the 3 different states. There has to be somebody. If I reside in the waking state, I'm fish in water, how do I know that I'm now in the dream state? Because you perceived it from different. I would have, if I'm in here, how do am I going here? That way? Is that, this is...
You couldn't,
You're going to look at it this way?
No.
And then how are you going to go that way? And are there actually 3 different states, or is it just this? Do you know? Does each of you know that there is a dream state? Or you can't tell the difference? And then I will send you somewhere if you can't. Can you tell the difference?
Yes.
Have you, and can you tell that deep sleep is different from dream?
Yes.
How? Why?
It's a different experience. Different.
Are you thinking when you're in it?
No.
Are you, what are you doing in deep sleep? What are you doing? Nothing. You're doing nothing. Are you, so is there someone who's aware and watches and sees the darkness? Do you think that's this guy? How many people think it's this guy? Wow. So if it's this guy, your waking state guy, right? Is there a difference between being awake or in deep sleep? No. Is there a difference between, is this the one that witnesses your dream state? Yeah? So this is what we've got. Your waking state is the completion of everything. Your waking state is the witness of the deep sleep. Why not? Does it think there's a deep sleep? Do you know there's a deep sleep state? That when you're in deep sleep, you know? Do you know when you're in dream state? Now the question: do you know when do you know when you're in waking state? No, because is that who you are? Do you have any consciousness? No. So, is this the perceiver? Oops. Why oops? What's wrong with that being the perceiver?
Well, there are times when you can't perceive it.
Well, that's the thing is that, well, you said you can perceive it. Mm-hmm. Have you ever perceived it? This. Yeah? So you have. So remember in the Yoga Sutras, the whole nature of the mind, in the waking state, is that sometimes it is subject and sometimes it's object. So that can't be what? Can't be who you are. Don't swear, because I just heard it, because we're taping right now. Me is what you were saying. So there has to be someone else who is the witness of the waking, dream, and deep sleep states. Correct? Who is always a subject, never an object, therefore cannot be perceived. Correct? the sky. And though they call it Turiya, fourth state, it really is separate. And it is the witness of the waking, dream, and deep sleep states. So now we go to someplace else. Okay. This I did years ago. This one has to do with the nature of the mind. Back and forth, do. Sure, not sure, sure, not sure, sure, not sure. And what most people think is who they are, their authentic voice, is their sure voice. And that's where they then believe that they're clear and clean with that sure voice. But that sure voice is either that voice or that voice, depending on the moment. Correct? Does it change?
Yes.
All the time. So, is that you?
No.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, your answer is, I want to believe it is. So my question to you is, why do you want to believe that voice, which I don't know about you, but I know where I grew up, that I don't want to have that voice, the voice that I have to listen to. Because if I am listening to that voice, let's see, my nails would be done. My hair would be dyed and different. I wouldn't be sitting here. I'd be on the beach somewhere or treading water in an old age home somewhere, looking for a man. Because those are the goals of life, aren't they? One of the crazy things she did it the last few years is she had 2 lobsters every week. Do you remember that day? 2 lobsters every week. That to her was like perfect. So between my mother's voice and my father's voice, combining that and bringing in the authority here, oh man, and that's who you want to be? What was your answer? Yes. It is, she says with authority. It is. Unfortunately, no matter how hard you want it to be you, and no matter how hard you work to convince yourself that that's you, it's not. And I'm so sorry, because it's not you. I hate to be the one to tell you. Now my question to you, have you ever perceived this voice? Yes, your answer was yes 1,000,000 times. So if you perceive that voice, can it be you?
No.
Nope. But your answer is why not? Why not? Why can't it be me? So why can't it be you? Why can't it be her?
Because you can perceive it.
So what?
So who's perceiving it?
Oh, there's the question. So who's perceiving it? So then we go to the next step. So hopefully we get off of the authoritarian conscience, the do-gooder voice, right? Do-gooder, authoritarian, do the right thing voice. And that's who you want to be? And that's who the true self is?
No, I hope not.
It is. If it is, then I need to close the class right now and I'm going to the beach. Because I'm in the wrong place. I need to go get my nails done. She was right all along. So I can perceive it. You can perceive it. So then you get to go back a little bit better, because this is, remember, this is all part of this. And you get to an authentic, more strongly powerful voice. More connected. Correct? Not on, let's say, that grid. Is that you? Why not?
It's still aware of itself.
It's not aware of itself.
Still perceived by something else.
It's still perceived by something else. Part of your answer was, you'd rather be this than that. Why? Why would you rather be this than the authentic voice? Anyone? Why would you want to be the do-gooder conscience as opposed to your authentic voice?
The only thing I can think right now is for power. Because you feel like it's you somehow.
Yeah, well, and you're righteous, you're good. Do you do anything wrong?
No.
Do you sit in judgment of everybody?
Yes.
Is that what the true self does? It is, she says. Ooh.
Oh.
So your authentic voice, which would be back here, is it judgmental?
No. No. Just what it is.
Just what it is. Is that the true self? No. No. Why not? It talks. It goes, I want macaroni pictures. Reference?
South Park.
South Park.
Camp Jubilee.
Yes. Moses speaking. I desire popcorn necklaces. Okay, Moses. It speaks. So when you said, and you sent that email to me asking about the laughter, did you think the true self sits there and is laughing?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you'd gotten to the true self that laughs. Yeah. Does anyone else think the true self laughs? Cries? Yaks? Talks? Does? Makes mistakes? No. So we've been through the Yoga Sutras. And who's the self in the Yoga Sutras? The seer, not the seen, or the seeing, right? The witness, the general on the hill, while the foot soldiers do everything. And we're going to even read today. My book is going. And we've read this. One who sees that all actions are performed by the natural forces alone, and that the self is actionless, truly sees. Bhagavad Gita. We've gone through that. Bhagavad Gita. So who's the self? Who's
Sees everything.
the one who sees everything?
It's God.
Don't make it into a limitation like that. You want to, in a way, be careful, because wanting to humanize it. Yeah.
Is it pure being?
Pure being. Do you think this is pure being?
My answer is yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it is. So what was the dark night of the soul? What is the whole thing of, whether it's Judaism, Christianity, Hinduism, Buddhism, all the traditions, what has to go?
Small self.
Just everything.
The individual. Is this the individual still?
Yes.
Yes.
It still says I this, I that.
Yes. So when Moses spoke to the burning bush, what did the burning bush say the name was?
I am.
I am. I am. I am. Because it was manifested. Pure eye awareness, nothing wrong with that. But what?
It's not the end game.
It's not.
If I remember correctly, you taught that the dark night of the soul is that time where, well, the individual is going, so God is no longer perceived as other, and it's the move to true non-dual.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
So it appears that God disappears, sort of,
Exactly.
for a moment, or whatever.
Forever. It feels like for a long time.
Okay.
And the person is completely bereft. And if we look at the stories of Radha and Krishna, those are the great stories. She's in love with Krishna, and then Krishna leaves her, and she's completely bereft. And she has to surrender. And the question is, what do you have to surrender? What do you have to surrender? The individual, who you think you are. And it's layer upon layer. It's, I let that go. Oh, now I have to let that go. Oh, now I have to let that go. Oh, now I have to let that go. It's constantly layer upon layer upon layer. And that self has no name. No name. There's no label.
So when the burning bush, when God in the burning bush says, I am,
Mm-hmm.
I just want to make sure that I understand this. So God manifested, and as soon as that step was taken, now it's an individual different from something else because it's no longer from that. It's from the groundwater, but it isn't the ground. Like it took a step closer to surface.
Right, it's communicating.
Okay.
It's communicating.
And then it becomes, for me, it's other.
Right.
Okay.
So that what happened was, at Moses was individual,
Yeah.
individual, watching a manifested expression.
Okay.
That's why mystics have such a hard time, and as we move along in sadhana and down the path, communicating. How do you communicate the expressions? Because they become less and less letters, so what great mystics are great translators. They're desperately wanting to communicate to others, to share. And if you go back to Evelyn Underhill, she so communicated that. But it's always going to be like a little bit of a shadow or an echo or not quite, because you can't, there are no words. There are no names. The letters don't come together to fully, completely, because they're here. They're already limited by saying. That's why, in a lot of ways, in Judaism, there is no name for God. You don't say their name. It's important to understand that. That's a very good theological understanding. There's no name. There shouldn't be. Because by having a name, you've limited. That's why that Hasidic story I read before, where it's all silence, and it's just this wonderful meeting, and it was all done in silence. And so much occurred. So it is always, if I can perceive it, it is not me. And we want to go back to Vitarka, Vichara, Ananda, Asmita, and Nirbija. Remember, these are all samadhis with seed. Seed, so therefore a label, a focus, an other. This is Nirbija, no seed, nothing. That's why great beings like Ramakrishna would go disappear. It'd go out for days. He'd be alive, and he was conscious somewhere else, but his disciples were taking care of his physical body at that point. So it isn't that we're all going to just a la peanut butter sandwiches get there. And very few in a lifetime get there. But what we are to do is to know where we are and not fool ourselves thinking we're somewhere we're not. And if we go back to right effort, Shiva Sutras, mere orientation of the will in the heart. And how do we get to be where we are? We really are? By just being with our experience. So if you were actually being with your experience, what would you experience?
Right now?
Yeah. What are you experiencing right now? Is it pleasant?
Embarrassment? No.
No. Your phrase was misery.
No.
Are you experiencing misery? The misery of waking up and being embarrassed and seeing where you are? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is that appropriate?
Yes. But no.
But no.
Not for little me.
Not for little you. Yeah. Because did you think you were a toddler that didn't have your parents behind you walking? You know, you were a toddler walking around knowing that you were in charge of everything, but you didn't realize that your parents were behind there like this. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my gosh, she's gonna fall. So your responsibility is to be with your experience, whatever it is. Now here's the other thing. Can we still our vibrations? No. Do you still your vibrations?
My answer is yes.
Yeah, it was, I do. Yeah. No, we do not still our vibrations. How do our vibrations still? Just by being with your experience. If you're willing to just be with your experience, no matter what it is, let whatever comes up, come up, and function appropriately. from the heart. Then do we have to worry about whether I'm the self or not self? No. Are we removing ourselves from ignorance? Yes. And remember, what's ignorance? Taking the non-self to be the self. And then once we do that, we jump into it. We lose our subject and object of that non-self. Then we're attracted to certain things because of it. We're repulsed by certain things because of it. And then we cling to life. And so sadhana is not to make yourself the prettier, bigger, better, smarter, cuter, dressed up self. Real sadhana is to remove ignorance so that you actually move toward being who you truly are as opposed to who you're not. So, be with your experience, whatever it is. And we're reading now the mystics Islam. They say, be with your experience, whatever it is. Nobody's going to say anything differently as long as they're doing and have been doing true sadhana. The mystics always, you want to get there, just be with your experience. And then you don't worry about the goal. There is no worrying about the goal. You're just being with your experience, whatever it is, letting whatever comes up, come up, and function appropriately. It's not, what are they saying these days? It's not sexy. I've never been accused of that. Just not my thing. Especially my mother absolutely was very concerned. Never called me that. So, practice isn't sexy. It isn't trendy. It isn't adorable. It isn't cute. It's not faddish. It isn't new. It isn't made up. It is just what works. Okay, thank you.